Imagine waking up every day with your life revolving around one thing: feeling good. You've got every distraction at your fingertips: streaming shows, endless scrolling, delivery apps, dopamine hits on demand. Feels like freedom, doesn't it? But what if that very freedom is the cage? Aldous Huxley saw this coming almost a century ago. In Brave New World, he described a society where people willingly traded freedom for pleasure, not through force or fear, but through something far more subtle: satisfaction. People were pacified not by dictators, but by dopamine. They took a pill called soma to stay happy. Always happy, numb, compliant, and too entertained to care about anything else. Fast forward to today, you're not taking soma, but maybe your phone is close enough. Think about how many times a day you reach for your device, not out of necessity, but out of habit. Notifications buzz, feeds refresh, every swipe, every like, every viral video, tiny doses of joy. But not the kind that fills you, the kind that makes you want more. That's the trap. Psychologists call it the hedonic treadmill. It means no matter how much pleasure you chase, your brain adapts. What once excited you becomes your baseline. So you run faster, consume more, chase harder. But you never arrive. That new phone, that dessert, that weekend binge, it fades. The hunger returns. And here's the real danger. You start mistaking that chase for living. This is what Huxley warned us about. A world where we're too entertained to ask if we're actually free. Not chained in cells, but chained by comfort. Not oppressed by tyrants, but sedated by satisfaction. It's not fiction anymore. It's Monday morning, and you're doom scrolling through breakfast, wondering why you feel so tired when you haven't done anything. The illusion of pleasure masks the absence of meaning. Philosopher Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, believed that what we really crave is not pleasure, but purpose. When we lose meaning, we don't get quiet. We get loud. We scroll louder, buy louder, binge louder. Because silence reminds us of the void. So what happens when a culture trains you to avoid discomfort at all costs? You lose the muscle for meaning. You trade depth for distraction. And you become easy to control. Control isn't always brute force. In fact, the most effective form of modern control is comfort that dulls your hunger for change. As Huxley said, most human beings have an almost infinite capacity for taking things for granted. If pleasure is constant, then questioning becomes rare. Revolution dies in a society addicted to ease. And you may think, okay, but what's the alternative? Should I be miserable? No, but you should be awake. Happiness isn't the enemy. Numbing out is. There's a difference between peace and passivity, between joy and sedation, between fulfillment and cheap dopamine. This is the first realization. The pursuit of happiness, when done blindly, can turn into a prison. It becomes the perfect form of slavery, one where you walk into the cell smiling. So ask yourself, when was the last time you chose discomfort over distraction? When did you last sit in silence without reaching for your phone? When did you last pursue meaning, even when it hurt? In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the mechanisms that turn your attention into currency and how the world profits from your addiction to pleasure.
Imagine a world where your attention is the most valuable resource, and everyone wants a piece of it. Not your money, not your time, but your focus. Welcome to the attention economy. In this world, you're not just a user. You're a product. Every second you spend swiping, liking, and binge-watching isn't just about consumption. It's data. Your behavior becomes the blueprint for platforms to keep you engaged, not enlightened, not fulfilled, just online. Tech companies understand one thing very well. Your brain is wired for reward. As neuroscientist Dr. Robert Sapolsky explains, it's not the reward itself that hooks us, but the anticipation of it. That tiny dopamine surge when you might get a like, a notification, or a message. That's what keeps you coming back. Platforms don't deliver consistent pleasure. They deliver unpredictable rewards, just like slot machines. This method is called intermittent variable reinforcement, and it's one of the most addictive psychological patterns ever discovered. Ask yourself, how many times have you opened your phone just to check one thing and found yourself lost 30 minutes later in an endless scroll? That's not your lack of willpower. That's a trillion-dollar system working exactly as designed. Huxley would have seen this as the new soma. Not a pill this time, but a feed. A stream of pleasure, tailored to your taste, optimized by algorithms, designed not to satisfy you but to keep you hungry. And here's where it gets even darker. The more you consume, the more passive you become. The more entertained you are, the less likely you are to resist. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, known for his concept of flow, warned that while technology can create moments of deep engagement, it more often produces fragmented attention, emotional fatigue, and cognitive overload. So the question isn't just, are we distracted? It's, are we being trained to stay distracted? Because in a distracted mind, there's no space for rebellion, no space for critical thinking, no time to ask, is this how I want to live? This is why the hedonic treadmill pairs so perfectly with the attention economy. You chase one thrill after another. But with every scroll, your baseline resets. You're not just chasing joy, you're chasing relief from the emptiness. What's worse, our biology betrays us. The more we lean into pleasure, the less our brain rewards it. Psychologists call this reward desensitization. The highs get lower, the lows get more frequent. Until one day, you need stimulation just to feel neutral. Now pause. Reflect. When was the last time you felt truly alive, without a screen, a like, or a notification? When was the last time your joy came from being, not consuming? In the 1930s, Huxley feared a world where truth would be drowned in a sea of irrelevance. Today, we're drowning in likes, clips, reels, and updates. We're not starving for content, we're suffocating in it. This isn't about throwing your phone away or deleting every app. It's about recognizing the systems designed to keep you docile, because awareness is power. So ask yourself, do you control your attention, or does it control you? When you're uncomfortable, do you face it, or escape it? Are your pleasures designed to uplift, or to numb? We are not powerless, but we are outnumbered. By algorithms, by screens, by invisible forces that profit from our unconscious scrolling. The path forward isn't found in isolation, it's found in intentional use. We don't need to abandon pleasure, we need to reclaim it. In the next part, we'll explore how our obsession with convenience and control has led to a culture of dependency, and how we can rebuild a life that's rich in meaning, not just in comfort. What if the greatest threat to your freedom didn't come from force, but from comfort? Aldous Huxley warned us. The future of oppression wouldn't look like a boot on your neck. It would feel like a warm blanket. Welcome to the age of soft tyranny, where control doesn't demand obedience because it buys your compliance with convenience. Think about it. You wake up to an algorithm-curated playlist. Your food is delivered, your opinions shaped by trends, your identity sculpted by filters. Step by step, your life becomes easier. And step by step, you give away something vital, your autonomy. You're not being forced into submission, you're being lulled into it. This is what philosopher Alexis de Tocqueville feared in democratic societies, a world where people willingly trade their freedom for ease. Huxley took this further. In Brave New World, people didn't resist their control. They loved it. Let that sink in. The most efficient form of control is one that doesn't feel like control at all. Now look around. Smart devices that think for you. Apps that deliver instant dopamine. AI that decides what you should see, buy, even believe. The more we automate, the less we participate. The less we participate, the easier we are to manage. This is not innovation, it's domestication. And here's the terrifying part. It feels good, which is why it's so dangerous. Modern psychology supports this. The more dependent we become on convenience, the less resilient we become in discomfort. Our dopamine systems adapt, making even mild effort feel like suffering. So we choose the path of least resistance again and again. until effort itself becomes unfamiliar. This is the psychology of soft slavery, where comfort becomes the cage, and we decorate it with our preferences. Ask yourself, when was the last time you chose difficulty? On purpose? When did you last delay gratification for something meaningful? Can you even imagine a life where struggle is embraced, not avoided? Philosopher Søren Kierkegaard described this as the despair of the aesthetic life, where people chase beauty and pleasure but feel hollow because there's no purpose beneath it. He believed the solution was not more comfort, but more commitment. Commitment to values, growth, and something bigger than ourselves. And here's where modern psychology agrees. Studies show that people who pursue intrinsic goals like personal development, deep relationships, and service report higher levels of fulfillment than those chasing extrinsic rewards like money or fame. Yet the world keeps feeding us lies. That happiness is a product. That fulfillment can be delivered overnight. That freedom means doing whatever you want. But real freedom is not freedom from discomfort. It's freedom through mastery of the self. So here's the paradox. We live in the most comfortable time in history, and yet anxiety, depression, and loneliness are at record highs. Why? Because comfort without purpose is just sedation. Huxley's world wasn't built on prisons. It was built on pleasure and indifference. People were so consumed by their trivial desires, they no longer cared to question anything. And that's exactly what keeps the machine running. This is why soft tyranny is so effective. It doesn't suppress you. It distracts you until you forget you were ever supposed to rebel. Let's make it personal. How often do you choose ease over integrity? How many of your daily choices are automated? Not by tools, but by habits. You're not lazy. You're conditioned. But here's the power you still hold. Awareness. Because awareness gives birth to resistance. And resistance is the first spark of freedom. In the next part, we'll unlock that resistance. We'll explore how to train your mind for purpose, rebuild discipline, and rewire your brain away from dependency. The final step is coming, and it's the most powerful one of all. What if the answer to breaking free isn't more pleasure, but more purpose? We've explored how society seduces us with comfort. We've seen how pleasure, when left unchecked, becomes a leash we willingly wear. Now, it's time to shift from awareness to action. Because awareness without action is just observation. And observation doesn't change your life. Discipline does. Aldous Huxley wasn't just warning us about pleasure. He was pointing towards something deeper. That true liberation isn't about doing whatever we want. It's about choosing what really matters. As Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Purpose isn't a motivational quote. It's a weapon against distraction, against complacency, against the illusion that comfort equals happiness. Let's be real. The world doesn't want you free. A free mind doesn't binge. It creates. A free soul doesn't scroll. It seeks. A free person doesn't escape. It engages. So how do you get there? You start small, but consistently. Wake up a bit earlier, not for productivity, but to hear your own thoughts. Put your phone down. Not forever, just long enough to remember you're not its servant. Do one thing each day that brings discomfort, but builds you. Because discipline isn't about punishment. It's about power. It's the quiet strength to say, I won't be owned by what feels good. I'll be led by what is good. And here's the irony. The more you choose discomfort for the sake of growth, the freer you become. Each tiny refusal to indulge is a vote for your future self. Let's go deeper. Psychologist Viktor Frankl believed that meaning is the ultimate antidote to suffering. He identified 3 pathways to meaning: creating something that matters, loving someone or something deeply, transforming pain into purpose. These don't require fame, wealth, or perfect conditions. They require one thing: a willingness to live with intention. So ask yourself, what legacy am I building? What pain in my life might be pointing to a deeper calling? What am I avoiding that, if I faced it, would change everything? Because at the end of the day, pleasure fades. But purpose roots you. That's why the Stoics train themselves to endure discomfort. That's why monks embrace silence. That's why great artists labor in obscurity. Not because they love suffering, but because they've discovered something worth suffering for. This is what Huxley feared we'd forget. That the greatest human capacity is not to feel good, but to become great. And greatness doesn't come from indulging every desire. It comes from channeling them. Now here's your final truth. Discipline. Freedom. Not the freedom to do anything, but the freedom to do what truly matters. When you build habits that serve your purpose, the world's distractions lose their power. When you say no to instant gratification, you say yes to becoming unshakable. When you choose meaning over numbness, you rise. This isn't just about self-improvement. It's about rebellion. It's about rejecting a system that profits from your passivity. It's about waking up and helping others do the same. So what now? Start. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. Choose one small act of discipline today, then another tomorrow. These tiny revolutions, they compound. They transform. You are not a product. You are not a user. You are not a number in someone's algorithm. You are a mind, a soul, a force. Now act like it. This is your life. Don't let pleasure write your story. Write it yourself, with purpose, with courage, with fire. Thank you for watching.